Saturday evening in the centre of Lisbon. Mário Soares, the Socialist Party leader who quit the coalition government a week earlier, addresses 100,000 supporters at a rally which signalled the start of a new phase in Portugal's 15-month-old revolution. The carnations of April 1974 are dead. In their place, bitterness. Alongside the old slogan, "Down with reactionaries," a new chant, "We are not afraid." Not afraid of the communists whose roadblocks prevented thousands from reaching the city centre that night. Hours after the meeting began, people were still arriving, having walked the 3 miles from the roadblocks to explain with emotion how they'd been ambushed. They were greeted as heroes.
Foram atacados de diversas maneiras.
Our people have been attacked at the barricades with Molotov cocktails, claimed Soares.
Molotovs para cima. Nós ajustaremos contas com estes energúmenos.
We'll settle our score with the communist hooligans.
Não eram capitalistas nem contra-revolucionários.
Where, demands Soares, are the counter-revolutionaries in this rally, as the communists have alleged?
Informam-nos aqui que os soldados.
We have heard that soldiers on one of the roads into the city held a meeting and decided to dismantle the barricades.
Reuniram em plenário e resolveram acabar com as barricadas. Esses soldados acabam de dar com esse ato de civismo.
Those soldiers have taught a lesson to certain officers who have suddenly risen from captain to general.
Certos oficiais que passaram rapidamente.
This first open attack on the armed forces movement was enthusiastically welcomed.
A maioria do povo português que será melhor que eles escolham.
So was his call for a new prime minister, above party politics, able to form a new coalition government.
Partidarismo real para que possa formar governo.
The crowd chants in response, "Watch out, communists, we're ready to fight." Although the revolution of April 1974 was bloodless, bringing the Portuguese freedom of speech and political expression for the first time in half a century, in the seething political atmosphere, those very freedoms have cost half a dozen lives in the last week, all of them outside Lisbon. Here at Caldas de Rainha, in a political quarrel, a 52-year-old man was stabbed through the heart on Sunday. The man who stabbed him was a communist. For the hundreds of mourners, it was as much a political march as a burial ceremony. The coffin bore the colours of the PPD, the moderate Social Democratic Party, which ran second to the Socialist Party in the recent national elections, elections denounced by the communists, who ran a distant third. And among the crowd, which came from a radius of 50 miles, was a PPD minister who had resigned from the government 4 days earlier. Like the socialists, the PPD had had enough of a government dominated by left-wing officers of the armed forces movement, who showed no interest in the fact that the two main parties represented over 60% of the electorate.
O ressusciteis e ilumineis para que possa contemplar no esplendor da vossa glória. Dai a vida eterna a este nosso irmão, vós que chamastes os mortos à vida.
Ouvimos, Senhor.
Levai para o céu este nosso irmão, vós que prometestes o paraíso ao pecador, a eterno descanso entre os esplendores da luz perpétua. Fazei que descanse em paz. Amém.
As the gravediggers completed their work, fistfights were already breaking out in the town centre. "20 miles to the southwest of Caldas da Rainha is the market town of Rio Maior. Here the people have hung a warning banner across the town hall balcony. It says, "The people of Rio Maior demand the cleaning up of false information." In an uncharacteristic burst of violence last week, the local people hijacked a newspaper delivery truck and, in protest against communist slanted reporting, publicly burned all the copies of 3 Lisbon daily newspapers in the square. "30 miles to the north, in the provincial capital of Leiria, the PPD, whose stabbed friend was buried earlier in the day, held a rally. They chanted their solidarity and then stood in silence in his memory.
Este vosso minuto de silêncio é minuto sentido.
The dead man, explained the local PPD member of the National Assembly, had died in the cause of liberty.
Não só os do nosso partido, mas todos aqueles que acreditam que a palavra liberdade tem sentido.
"Down with communism," responded the crowd. And then, long live free Portugal and social democracy.
Viva o socialismo construído pela via social democrática! Viva o povo de Leiria!
Even as they chanted, the most significant anti-communist move since the revolution had already drawn the army to Alcobaça, 20 miles to the southwest. It began at midday when a crowd of several hundred occupied the town hall and informed the communist mayor that he was unelected, did not represent their views and should quit. An officer moved in and asked the meeting for an explanation.
Sabemos concretamente o que é que deu origem a esta manifestação e depois apresentarmos soluções para já, soluções imediatas para a mesma questão. Pronto.
Who wants to speak first?
Neste momento deu origem, fala mais alto, deu origem à ocupação da Câmara.
One of the socialists gave him the answer.
Não está de acordo que à frente delas tivesse representante do Partido Comunista, pois considera.
The problem that caused this occupation of the town hall is because we don't agree with its being run by Communist Party members.
Não está em causa se era bom ou se era mau. Está em causa unicamente que era partido minoritário que mandava.
We think the Communist Party is a minority party, and as such cannot dictate to the majority. It's not a question of whether the mayor is good or bad. The only area of dispute is that the minority has power over the majority. And in present political circumstances, the Communist Party can bring about civil war, which we want to avoid.
Para ver se amanhã, se nós conseguimos resolver a bem, sem tiros, sem mortes.
That's the main reason for the takeover of the town hall, so we can try to sort out our problems without shots fired or casualties. The problem is that the Communist Party today holds key jobs in the local administrations. These are the reasons why we, the people, decided to replace the Communist Party.
Da Câmara Municipal.
O
The deposed communist mayor exchanges insults with some of the invaders.
Será nem mais nem menos. Crime de outra qualquer. E será amanhã crime de outra qualquer. Exatamente. Somos os mesmos criminosos. Portanto, não foram mais severos para o senhor com que os senhores e a vossa cúpula foi severo para o Tarcísio. Onde é que se encontra o Tarcísio nesta hora? Nem se interessa com isso.
What have I done wrong, he asks.
Pois nós sabemos que o Tarcísio está preso. E a se virem que eu
Do I deserve to be arrested? Yes, is the reply.
Quais são os crimes que apontaram ao Tarcísio?
Am I a criminal?
Há ano que ele foi saneado, ainda temos para saber os
Yes,
crimes que levaram
just like the fascists you arrested when you took over.
A culpa é daqueles que cá meteram no governo.
The invaders argue with each other.
A culpa é daqueles que sanearam e nunca mais disseram porquê.
Mas isso já a gente sabe. Estamos fartos que
Whatever happened to the fascists anyway? It's a year since they were arrested.
é melhor assim.
O andamento da reunião cá em cima. Obrigado.
The crowd are told that the occupation is successful. The mayor has been deposed. Why don't the people want him here?
Por que é que as pessoas não quiseram aqui?
Por estar a representar o Partido Comunista.
The mayor explains, because I represent the Communist Party. That's the only thing they blame me for. I have nothing to complain about, although at the start it was a bit rough, which is natural. But I'm not attacked because of my professional work, because there I cannot be attacked. And I've never made any use of my party position while in the town hall at the service of the people. Having purged the mayor, the crowd turned their attention to any communist supporters they could find. A running search of the town's streets revealed a terrified youth armed with a starting pistol. The businesslike but amiable mood of the town hall occupation now became increasingly violent, and the soldiers from the garrison who'd arrived from Leiria only as a token presence found themselves trying to prevent physical violence. The young communist was led to the town hall and held under guard for his own safety. For the frustrated crowd, it was a critical moment. They turned their anger on the Communist Party headquarters, 2 floors above a chemist's shop in the town square, while more bewildered soldiers did their best to defend the 15 communists inside. The officers' appeals for silence were howled down by the crowd. For soldiers and people, it was a new experience. The much paraded unity between them was trampled underfoot. The officer gave up. For an hour or so, there was a stalemate. Increasingly, the edgy soldiers became drawn into angry discussions. As the crowd refused to disperse, tear gas canisters appeared. The first man to break the army's cordon was a youth who crossed 3 rooftops with a homemade noose to destroy the red flag. Resenting this snub to their authority, the army set off to arrest the youth. The crowd was incensed. Spat upon, jostled and insulted, a young soldier fired into the air and others followed suit. But the crowd's determination remained. 2 truckloads of troops, more guns and tear gas were called in, and for a time the tension eased. Police stood and watched as the army tried to explain the problem to them. Torn between good tactics and good crowd relations, 2 captains tried to talk their way out of the corner they were in. They failed. To win the crowd, the soldiers displayed illegal arms found in the communist headquarters and went on to empty the building of guns and ammunition. But to the crowd, it was all the more reason to destroy the office and the people in it. The soldiers, by defending them, had become traitors. Only by barring half the street with trucks did the army eventually release the 15 trapped communists to be driven away in a hail of threats and insults. But the violence was just beginning. By 11 o'clock, the soldiers were exhausted in defense of their own shattered officers. Glazed with bewilderment and weeping from their own tear gas, they fended off as best they could the relentless pressure from the crowd, the people, their erstwhile comrades in the building of the new democracy. By 11:30, the crowd smelt capitulation. The officer in charge hid in a shop, as much a prisoner as the communists he was seeking to protect. The officer wouldn't talk to us.
They've used tear gas tonight,
They
yes?
did tear gas and proper bullets too.
And bullets as well?
Oh yeah, plenty of them.
What, into the air?
In the air, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do the people want to do? Why are the people still here?
They are scared. They are worried, because the point is that Portugal have about 12% of communists. Now they may have 6 or 7, and they dominate the country. And the people don't want that anymore. It's finished. You know, we can't take anymore. You know, the people who have cattle and race cattle and farming, they couldn't stand anymore this life. You know, all our money goes and no work, no nothing.
What do you think the people will try and do? What do you think is likely to happen?
I don't know, you know. People on the state of mind they can do anything.
What is the mood of the people of this town at the moment?
Very, very, very bad indeed. Very bad indeed. very bad, very worried.
Do you think the people of this town support the Prime Minister at the moment?
No.
They
no
don't?
question, no.
They want the Prime
Not
Minister
at all.
out?
And I don't mind that they say the man is mad. He's a nutcase.
The Prime Minister
Yes,
is a
the
nutcase.
Prime Minister
Yes,
is a
yes.
nutcase.
What-
He's a nutter.
What do you want to happen? What the Prime
I
Minister...
want them to leave and let the biggest party in the country to govern the country. Nothing else. That's what we want. With the MFA all together. And take that mad, that lunatic people that they don't know what they are doing. The people are worried, not with the soldiers, because I don't know if you noticed, but many of them are crying. You know, they are worried. They don't know what side to go. And they can see the people are outside, the people are here.
Do you think that many of the soldiers are with the people of this town?
Most of them are. They are the people. They are the MFA. Of course they are with the people.
At 11:45, the officer emerged and ran.
The captain in charge of this operation here has now climbed onto the lorry to be between his troops and away from this crowd, which shows no sign of dispersing. The air is full of tear gas. People are crying all around me. There is no sign that either the army is in control or that the people themselves are going to make any move away from here until they've achieved satisfaction and entered that building and got hold of the Communist Party's offices.
Just before midnight, with a yell ringing with revenge, the crowd burst past the army, invaded the building and claimed victory. The party's sign was the first target. Everything movable followed it into the street.
In you go, John. In you go, John. John's going in.
Clearing out process is going on at some rate. I've got in my hand here a bottle of camping gas, wired into the form of a bomb. It's just one of a dozen that they found here. The wrecking process looks like going on for some time. The police have arrived outside. They're joining the army and doing absolutely nothing about this.
Demoralized and depressed, the army conceded defeat. As they drove half-heartedly away, someone threw them a carnation, the symbol of last year's revolution. The works of Marx, Lenin and Engels joined the posters, the files, the furniture, the doors and windows in two massive bonfires. 100 yards away, in a pool of blood, lay one communist who didn't receive army protection. He was still alive, just.
It's now 1:15 in the morning. There's still no sign of the fire brigade, and the smashing goes on upstairs, although God knows there can't be much left to smash. The first reports of this evening's incidents have now appeared on Portuguese television, although there have been no crews here. The reports run roughly along the following lines: that a gang of former special agents of PED, the secret police of the previous regime, and counter-revolutionaries of the extreme right-wing party are responsible for attacking this building behind me.
Communists, of course, control the television. In the morning, unrepentant, the people of Alcobaça met again at the town hall. The local army commander declined to meet them or to approve the election of a new mayor.
Onde ouvimos da boca de deles que seria isto da vontade do povo.
They dispersed quietly, half in hope, half in fear. Hope for the democracy promised by the Revolution of the Flowers. Fear that the alternative could be reciprocal violence or civil war.